take a break, and then we're going to talk some football and a little baseball to wrap up the YouTube portion of our show. It is winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home some big wins of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So I was thinking the other day about the hierarchy of the Browns' best players. And I think we could all come to the consensus that Myles, if you're just power ranking players in the Browns, is #1. Unless you're Earl, who says it's MJ Emerson, but I can't take him seriously when he says that. So,
wild.
other than Earl,
I want a montage.
That's
other
crazy.
than Earl,
what did Earl
everyone's in
say?
consensus.
It's MJ
crazy.
Emerson.
Is better than Myles Garrett? He didn't say that.
MJ Emerson is the best player on the Browns. The only thing MJ is second in this city is hair. That's it.
He's not even the best cornerback on the Browns.
MJ Emerson is the best player on the Browns, bull. Don't start.
You
man.
don't believe. I don't even
We'll
think you
cut another
believe
whole
that.
montage on you, Bull.
Shouldn't
Be
he have been the
careful.
defensive player of the year then, league-wide?
Politics, Jay. Politics.
Oh,
You know how this goes.
So my question to you is this, guys.
Don't die on that hill, bro.
Who is the second best player on the Browns? And this is with the assumption
Besides
Myles
MJ
is
Emerson.
first. So we're taking Myles out. If you want to make the argument for MJ like Earl did,
That's
be all
great.
you
Even
guys,
Earl does
that's
not
all
believe
you.
that.
But who do you guys believe is the second best player on the Browns? We're going to put a poll in the chat, too.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys chime
I
in
think
the
it's
chat.
easy, guys. It's Denzel Ward. I mean, Denzel Ward is the second best player on the Browns. Had Nick Chubb been healthy, then he'd be I would have argued a year ago that Nick Chubb was the best player on the Browns, even better than Myles Garrett. But I can't argue that now.
So
because he's coming off
explain
an
why
injury.
he's not. Because
because
I
he's
can't read. I misread the question
Yeah.
overnight. I thought it was based on what they've done, not what you're projecting them to do. So the reason Nick Chubb wouldn't be #2
is he's coming off an
because
injury.
he's coming off a terrible
A
injury. We
serious
don't know
injury,
what
yes.
there's a huge question mark next to his name.
Right. Right now, if I'm starting a team, Nick Chubb's not going to be as high on my list as he would have been in every other year.
Yeah.
And I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb remains my favorite Browns player, but he's not the second best player on the Browns right now. Now, maybe by the end of this year he will be again. It wouldn't surprise me because he's such a stud. But to me, it's Denzel Ward because the Browns have a lot of very good players. Denzel Ward is a superstar. I think it gets understated how good he is because he's missed a couple of games every year. For whatever reason, I feel like Myles Garrett gets more of a pass for that than Denzel Ward does. Because Myles misses games, it seems like, every year too. And yet Denzel Ward, I feel like, gets dinged for it more. Maybe because, the sack stat is sexier than anything Denzel's doing. But you ask players around the league, you ask wide receivers, and I'll look at it also from a selfish perspective. Who are the two teams, Mike, that I pay most attention to?
The Browns and the Bengals.
Well, every time Denzel Ward plays the Bengals, with almost no exceptions that I can remember, he plays great. In my opinion, Joe Burrow's the second best quarterback in the NFL. In my opinion, I wouldn't trade Jamar Chase for any wide receiver in football. And yet Denzel Ward has acquitted himself against those guys consistently well and consistently better than any other corner in the league, and it's not close. Denzel Ward is a star. He's a superstar, and we saw it in the games he doesn't play. MJ Emerson is a really good player. Greg Newsome is a nice player. They can't hold a candle to Denzel Ward. He is a superstar, he is a stud, and he is clearly the second best player on the Cleveland Browns.
G. Bush?
That's wild, bull. That's crazy. I like the energy. You tried to sell it.
I sold it.
Man. Denzel Ward misses 4 or 5 games a year. You could book that too.
And 2 years ago, he was AWOL.
Yeah, he can't hamstring, right?
I just mean when he was on the field. He was not Denzel Ward. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't Denzel Ward.
By the way, they did take 2 corners back-to-back years and one in the first round. I'm just saying, this is going to be controversial. Last year, 2023, Denzel Ward, how many interceptions? 2. Okay, that's all right. Sometimes they don't throw that way. But let me go to the dude that this is very controversial. Second best player on the team is JOK.
Wow, talk about knee-jerk.
Nah. Listen, go put that up.
Damn, we were going to cut him a year ago.
Hey, listen, he had 2 interceptions this year too. So he had just as many picks as Denzel Ward. He was 4th in the league in tackles for loss, over 100 tackles period, 3.5 sacks. He's 24 years old, and he was the best player on the field in a blowout loss where the defense really didn't show up. JOK is the new wave of linebacker. Yeah, he played horribly the year prior to that. But you put him in the right system. Half of football is about the system. What system are you in? And they maximize and bring out the best traits that you have. JOK is on a transition or on a trajectory that he's a guy that could possibly win a Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm just saying it right now. His stats already say it. When you talk about it, he's a 3-down linebacker. He can give you something in coverage. He had 2 sacks. He can blitz. He's dynamic when he coming off the edge. He's the fastest linebacker in the game. He makes it difficult for guys, the quarterbacks, the Lamar Jacksons of the world, the Jalen Hurts. This is everybody want a linebacker like this that can run guys down, play coverage 3 downs, and give you 100 tackles plus and 20 plus tackles for a loss. The second best player on the team is JOK, and I think and if you really want to get cute, that ain't even really close if you talk about the statistical numbers and what he's doing and what way the league is going.
I like JOK. I mean, that was a terrible take by UG Bush, but I like JOK. Listen, I'm telling you, talent-wise, look, if you say second best, they got the best defense. So nothing matters besides one season.
Well, we're projecting here.
I'm projecting.
Okay.
We talk about what he does. We saying like, what is he today?
Because if we would go into you like to call it the Facebook time machine.
Yeah.
And we go just to 1 year ago.
Oh, we were cutting him.
If you were making a case for Denzel Ward and you were making a case for JOK, we would take your NFL cards away.
Yes.
They'd be like, you got to go. Y'all done.
So we are projecting.
Well, in fairness, and Denzel did have one bad season.
But it was 2 years ago.
Denzel, at least before that, had been excellent.
All pro.
As opposed to JOK, who had, never been excellent.
But we saw flashes his rookie season, and then all of a sudden he was on a milk carton.
Yeah.
And our good friend, who knows linebacking play in the Cleveland Browns as well as anybody,
Yes.
Q, said, I'd cut him.
Yep. That's a fact. So who's yours, Jay?
Nice effort. Good effort. And I like the sales job. The passion was there.
Very good.
I almost felt like you were on a debate team and you were forced to make a case for what's in this envelope.
Oh, wow.
Like, Bull, here's your topic. So I felt like your heart wasn't quite in it.
Forced. Felt forced.
G. Bush, nice little twist. I like what you did there. It was okay. See what I did there?
That's a backhanded compliment I've ever seen.
It was J-O-K. It was just okay. Here's who's the second best player on the Cleveland Browns next year. And I'm going to blow your doors off. It's Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. What? I said it.
What the hell is happening
I need a
here?
Kool-Aid packet. Where's my Kool-Aid?
Wow.
Where's my Kool-Aid? I need
Jay
Kool-Aid.
just blew up the internet.
This is...
We just did a whole montage of your guys' terrible blasphemous takes, and that's the craziest thing Jay's ever said.
Wow.
Here it is. I need a close-up.
Wow.
Yeah. Now do you want
That
me?
just blew my mind. You're right.
I know it did.
Jay out here signing the peace treaty. He signed the peace treaty.
No, listen, there's never been a war. I say what I think, not what I want.
I would have predicted you said Dustin Hopkins before Deshaun Watson.
All right, go let him.
I thought he was going to go Amari Cooper.
Let
I was
him-
convinced
I
he was
did
going
too.
Cooper.
Amari was my other option.
Hey, let him get your money
go
off.
ahead.
Get your money
I'm
off.
going to make my case by
Preach.
asking you guys questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this?
Yes.
For the Browns to have a successful season next year, who has to have the best season?
Deshaun Watson.
You?
Yeah, Watson.
Okay. Deshaun Watson. We're 2 for 2 so far. I like where this is going.
Jedi mind.
For the Browns to win a Super Bowl
Yes.
in the future, who has to become the franchise quarterback, the best player on the team?
Deshaun Watson. Or at least one of the best players on
Watson.
the team.
4 for 4. I like where this is going, guys.
Yeah.
Slowly, I see you guys' minds opening up. I can visually see both of them opening up. Deshaun Watson, for him to turn the page with the fans in Cleveland, Ohio, who has to be the best player on this team next year?
Deshaun Watson.
Jameis Winston. No, I'm playing. Going to be Deshaun Watson.
You suck. You You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
We got-
What's funny is you just said people would have called us. You would have called us crazy last year, and now it's the same
Nah,
thing.
yeah,
in the
right.
nut house.
Right. Right.
You'd put me in the nut. They named the nut house after me.
He wasn't one of their top 20 players last year.
No, he wasn't. But here is the facts of the matter.
Yeah.
He has to be.
He better. Right.
He has to be.
Yes.
Because there are his bank account isn't relying on it, which scares me. But there are other men's livelihood in the balance based on what he does next year.
Yeah.
He has to be second half Ravens Deshaun. He has to be Houston Deshaun. I'm told that all of the excuses are now off the table. They're gone.
Yeah.
So, by hook or by crook, some way, somehow, Deshaun Watson, in year 3 of a 5-year deal, because that's the tipping point. If we're at the same point next year, more than half the hay's in the barn,
over.
it's a total debacle of failure.
Yes.
And there will be careers that end on that.
Yes.
And none of that can happen. And based on the Deshaun Watson I saw, the last time I saw him with a 4 on his back, he was that guy. It was brief. Was it fleeting? Is it repeatable? I don't know. I just know one answer. For all of the things that the Browns want, for all of them to come true, he can't be the 23rd best player on the team.
Nope.
He can't be the 5th best player on the team. He has to be overwhelmingly and with no shadow of a doubt the reason the Browns are winning football games. He has to be the best player on the Cleveland Browns next season.
Are we talking about Mobley or Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
Well, listen.
Yes.
I think the one thing we could agree on is that we're all rooting for Jay to be right.
Oh, yeah.
Which we haven't often said.
Oh, yeah.
No, rarely have you said that.
Yeah,
Now,
I want you to be right so bad.
Here's the thing,
Yeah.
okay? I like this question for this reason. We could ask 10 people and we could get 7 different answers.
Yeah. As I was debating between Amari Cooper and Denzel Ward.
And I had 5 names. First of all, I can't read.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the list, I read it reversed.
You read it backwards. Yeah.
I read it as to say he's not, it's based on what we've done, not what we think's going to happen.
This is the correct answer
Right.
because everybody in the chat,
so then-
everybody in the chat, is the number one answer is Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and so
That's
obviously it's not based on body of work.
Right.
It's based on who's going to be the number 2 dog on this team next year.
Right.
And with Nick, there's just a huge question
Right,
mark.
right.
Now, I believe in Nick.
Yep.
In Chubb, I trust. But I got to see it first because I've had those injuries.
Yeah.
And I know how much I regressed in my own athleticism and speed and everything else with each one. This is his second. The difference for me, the biggest difference for me was between my first and second. I felt coming back from my first, I was stronger, faster, better than I was before. I never felt like that after my second
And
tear.
most running backs take a full year of playing before they're at their best again.
Well said.
And he's older.
Yeah.
Now, Adrian Peterson was great as soon as he came back. And I believe, and I've said this before, that Nick Chubb is of Adrian Peterson ilk.
You're right.
But we got to see. We got to see it.
I don't know. Do we vote? Do we have the chat vote on
What do you
who
guys-
got this right?
What do you guys think?
Well, Earl thinks the
Stop
answer is
already.
Myles Garrett.
Earl does
because-
not believe that. No.
Should we revoke Earl's speaking privileges?
No,
on Mike
because
for
Earl's
2
messing
minutes?
around. I don't know what he's doing here, but he knows he's not the second best player on the
Earl
team.
been on them energy drinks.
I'll get to the chat. The chat. So we put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Now the chat only gives you 4 options in a poll.
Yeah.
So granted, we only were able to give them 4 options.
And you
here.
didn't give them Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun was not on there.
Wow.
The 4 options we gave were JOK, Chubb, Amari Cooper, and then Earl wanted us to put MJ Emerson in there. MJ got 4% of the vote.
Sorry, Earl.
So either people love Earl.
I don't know what's worse.
He got that
Earl
Michael
thinking
Dukakis.
MJ Emerson is the second best player on the Browns, or Mike's poll choices. Why would you put Emerson over Ward?
Because of Earl.
It was going to be Ward, and then Earl gave Anthony the death stare.
There
and
is
I think he was
nobody
like,
on the planet that thinks MJ Emerson is better than Denzel Ward.
got-
There's
You're
no
really-
chance.
Actually, it is.
You're sitting 7 feet away.
No,
from
Earl, I
somebody.
refuse to
Actually, it
believe that
is.
Earl believes that.
He
Nobody
got-
believes
he
that.
got just as many votes as Ross Perot. This guy just 4% of the They don't. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all
He's
didn't
the
get that
H.
one.
Ross
He's going to get
Perot.
less than Robert Kennedy's
I
getting.
know the funny thing about it is I was really just joking around, and it clearly sparked a real conversation in the chat. But if I had to go, like all things equal, up until this point, it's been Nick Chubb. He averages over 5 yards.
Yeah, but,
That wasn't the question.
that's up to this point.
Yeah, no, it's
What do you think?
This
Who's
is
going
right
to be
now
Well, and
today.
that's what,
here?
and that's a flaw in the poll, Mike, because the way you asked the question, you should not have even put Nick Chubb as an option.
listen. I don't make the polls, bull.
You do actually.
Technically,
Nick Chubb
you
shouldn't
do
even
make
have been
the
on
poll.
there.
Now I do.
technically, this guy does. Who hit submit on the poll?
I'm going on record that
Well,
Mike told me the
then
four
wait a
people
minute.
put
Why
out.
wasn't
We
Messi
can't
one
hear
of
a
the
word
choices?
Anthony's saying.
Anthony, why wasn't Messi one of the choices then?
Hold on. I want to go on record that said Mike told me the 4 to put in this poll.
I told you to put
listened to
Denzel
his
Ward. I don't see
instructions.
Denzel Ward in this poll.
Mike, did you tell him to pay that hush money? No, I'm playing with you.
No. Listen, I actually.
I'm just confused as why you would make the poll before I even got a chance to.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Well,
That is
we
that is
put the poll
disrespectful.
up- No, we put the poll up before any of you guys answered.
Yeah, because he
Oh.
didn't have Denzel Ward there either.
Well,
Yeah, we put it up just because we want to give people enough time to
Can you
make sure.
can you put up a new poll now? We have 19
okay, yeah.
minutes before we go to
ending the
Channel
poll.
3.
Anthony, you want just the 3 you guys mentioned?
Yeah, just the 3: Deshaun Watson, Denzel Ward, JOK.
Now
Why don't you
here's
put other as the
this
fourth
is a
option?
great.
Other is the 4th.
Yeah.
This is a great litmus test. If Deshaun is the winner,
Yeah.
because Jay, the chat, you are not.
That'd be
in
the first
favor.
time
It
they've
would be
ever
the
agreed
first
with me.
time you have ever.
I put the chat in a real tough spot
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is gonna put the chat's
I,
allegiance.
is what I'm they're all they're going, damn it!
What is stronger, the chat's allegiance to Deshaun Watson or the chat's hatred of Jay Crawford?
So that's really what we're measuring here.
We're gonna find this out.
That
right
really
now.
is what we're meant. Now,
Yeah.
I want to stay undefeated, so I'm kind of rooting against Deshaun in the poll.
Well, so far.
I can't have
this is a good one.
I can't have the crew living in mom's basement agree with me. I can't.
It's not good.
It would be bad for my psyche.
See what he's doing.
So what's the early results, Mike,
What we got?
percentage-wise?
What we doing?
Well, it's,
the
I
early
mean, it's
results
probably just
through
posted.
100 votes. Deshaun has 50%. Ward is 29. JOK is 12. Other has 11. We're gonna let this run. We'll give you the final results at the end of the show.
Very
Is that
good.
all right?
Yeah, good
All right,
idea.
Let's talk a little baseball,
but
guys.
can I?
Yeah, please,
I just
Jake,
want to
please.
say one
Nobody even
question.
mentioned Amari Cooper.
Now,
How
this
about
is
that?
an
He would've been mine, for the
this is an imaginary question since we like asking people like what they think about who's the best player or whatever. Who's the best coach on the Browns in the Browns building?
Oh, we'll do it next week. Don't answer the question.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
answer it.
answer that because that's a
That's
lot
a
going
long
on
topic.
there.
That's
And
a long conversation.
that's a great topic.
There's
too.
a
Go
lot
ahead.
going on there.
Let me add it to the list.